Well, hey folks, Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin, and these are 12 ways I would improve the WWE product. I'm just a fan, not a reporter, not a journalist. I don't claim to be that like other people do. I just know things based on what I watch. I love wrestling. Most forms of it, gotta admit, don't really watch Impact Wrestling. A lot of people do. That's great. I gave it a chance for well over a decade. Can't watch it anymore. Wish them nothing but the best, and I will mention them actually here on this list for a reason. And I've done a video like this in the past. I want to say I did one near the end of 2016. But some things have changed, and I'm recording this after WWE Backlash. I'm recording this the morning after. And that pay-per-view really got me angry. It still got me angry, because it was a lousy-ass show besides the opening IC title match. And it's fine if you guys disagree. That's okay. Check out the review, by the way. Myself and the Durban did what I thought was a great job, given the fact that we were both tired and exhausted from the fact that that pay-per-view was total ass. But it got me to thinking, how would I improve the WWE product? And again, I'm just a fan. I obviously would never work for WWE. I wouldn't be able to hold myself, to a certain standard in a corporate environment. But here are some ways I would fix it. Are they maybe the same as that previous video I did? Probably. But I'm going to reiterate some of them here and come up with some new ones if I can. With the exception of number one, none of these are ranked in particular importance. I'm just going with how I wrote them down. Anyway, let's get on with the list. Acknowledge past accomplishments by wrestlers and other companies, especially with Impact. I mean, Styles, EY, EC3, Rude, Joe, various others. There are others I'm missing. Zelina Vega was also in there. There are so many wrestlers that wrestled in Impact and Ring of Honor. I mean, they sort of have a pseudo-working relationship, or at least acknowledgement of Ring of Honor. But New Japan, if they bring any guys from New Japan, they almost don't seem to care. Even though NXT tends to acknowledge the past accomplishments of some various people, they seem to refuse to acknowledge Impact. And look, I get it. Impact kind of has the stench of grisly death around it, even though the rebranding seems to be going well, and hopefully it gets better. I think that if they don't acknowledge Impact, the accomplishments of various wrestlers from Impact, then no one's going to care when they bring these guys over. I mean, with the exception of maybe some of the hardcore fans who watch this stuff, if, all companies, if they do that, if they acknowledge the past accomplishments that people had in Impact Wrestling, especially like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and Rude, and the other ones that I mentioned, if they do that, then people can say, okay, if we check this out, maybe we could see some stars from there that will come to WWE, or maybe some stars from WWE will go to Impact. If you get all the products to actually mean more and get some more buzz, wrestling itself is healthier, competition is better. I'm not saying Impact is competition for WWE, but at least that way you get you get some eyes on that product, which could turn some eyes to your product. Oh wait, these guys used to be in WWE? Well, let me see what they did in WWE, and maybe you get some more network subscriptions, like Austin Aries was in there for a while. Johnny Impact, Johnny Mundo and Lucha Underground, and there are some others. I kind of forgot. Well, Lashley also. Lashley's somebody they really need to acknowledge, because he didn't have a very good run in WWE his first time. I mean, they tried everything with him, and it didn't work because he was still a project. Then he improved in MMA, and he improved in Impact Wrestling. He improved greatly. So they need to acknowledge past accomplishments of various wrestlers. They just do. It would help lend so much credibility to said wrestlers. It wouldn't make it seem like their past didn't matter, even though Vince feels that if it didn't happen in WWE, it didn't matter. Number 11, and again, in no particular order, because some of these could be ranked higher. Stop scripting the wrestlers and promos so much. Stop overproducing the announcers. It dilutes the product, makes it irrelevant, makes me tune out the announcers, except when they botch, which is often because you have a 78,000-year-old man yelling in their ears. And I know Vince is only about 73 or something like that, 73, 74 or something like that. I think he'll be 74 this year. It just doesn't, it makes the product seem ridiculous. You need to get Cole off commentary and put him on backstage duties. Because apparently he wants to be a backstage official, which is good because Cole has not been good on commentary, with the exception of the UK tournament that they did last year. He was pretty good in that because he didn't have Vince yelling in his ears. In both his ears. He might have even been yelling right in his damn face, what Cole probably saw. But also overproducing, overscripting the promos. If you don't let the wrestlers cut loose a little bit, and I'm not talking Scott Steiner cut loose because we don't need Grandpapa Pump swearing like crazy on WWE television, even though I'm not going to tell Scott Steiner not to do that because Steiner does his own thing, or he'll suplex you and throw you and then land badly after a Frankensteiner. Dear God, you're almost 60. Stop doing that move. But stop scripting the promos so much, because that way you could give a little bit of leeway to some talents. I'm not saying they shouldn't have they should have bullet points and stuff like that, but if they can't, if you script them so much, then if they're suddenly allowed to cut promo, or oh hey, just go out and say this, or it's like say these couple things but do whatever, then they're completely lost. They would just stumble, say those couple things and then leave. If you stop overproducing people, then okay. Give mouthpieces also, like managers. Bring managers back more. Have them, talk for people that really can't talk. Do that kind of stuff. They really do need to stop scripting those promos so damn much, because it is ridiculous. Number 10, at least 2 women's matches per show. Easier to accomplish on Raw with 3 hours than it is SmackDown. But there are reasons why I say that they could do, why I feel they could do that, especially as this list goes on. Because one thing they need to do is cut down on a lot of filler they have. The women's matches are not fillers. Have actual multi-feuds going on. Not just over the title, but competing for the title and stuff like that. If you want to eventually introduce a women's tag team championship, have it go from Raw to SmackDown to NXT and that kind of stuff. Don't have one on each show. You can't do that, but you have it like a traveling circuit, and it gives women that are not in a singles feud a chance to actually do something, and then maybe you make it seem better, even though Impact did it first with the Knockout Tag Team Championship. Let's never forget that. They did do that. I am going to put Impact over when they need it, and they do deserve it, because they did some good things and some bad things, and we talked about the bad things before. But at least 2 women's matches per show, whether you have it be a tag team match or you have it be a singles match. I would also have the women's title, whether on Raw or SmackDown, whichever one, defended once a month on TV. You make it seem bigger. Have the rematch right after a pay-per-view. If the champion loses, they get their rematch right afterwards. Yeah, it maybe dilutes the pay-per-view, but also you can move right on to another feud and seamlessly transition if you decide not to switch the title back all of a sudden. A couple women's matches per show would definitely help, because you cut out a whole lot of filler if you actually have actual goddamn matches. Number 9, emphasize and promote the tag team titles and the division. NXT sort of does a good job. NXT's got a couple good tag teams and a lot of filler. But Raw and SmackDown, if they utilize all the tag teams properly, they could just have one male tag team match per show. But if they have the tag titles defended occasionally on either Raw or SmackDown, then it makes it seem better. Yes, could it dilute the possibility of a championship match on pay-per-views? Yes, but if they're doing co-branded pay-per-views, you need to have more title matches on TV. Because then that way people don't forget, oh yeah, these tag titles exist, or these titles exist, or this kind of stuff. I know the tag team wrestling at times maybe isn't everybody's cup of tea, but when done right, it is brilliant. Impact did it greatly for a number of years. And still does to a point, even though they have a very gutted roster. But if they don't promote their tag team division, WWE that is, and do stuff with the tag titles, and they just basically put them like, oh hey, you're the tag team champions, and they do nothing with them for a number of months, then why even have the bloody titles at all? I would have them go between Raw and SmackDown. I wouldn't even have SmackDown and Raw tag titles. I would have them go between shows. One, it gives more competition, because they only have 8-10 tag teams between both brands. Why not just do that? I mean, they kind of don't really need both tag titles. My opinion, though. But anyway, here we go. So, another cut pay-per-views a year from about 14. I think they're doing about 14. I mean, I know they got the Saudi Arabia show, so you can't cut that because oil money speaks volumes more than women's and gay rights. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying it still. I don't really care if people have an issue with it. Cut them from 14 to about 10. I know the main selling point of the network is you get a pay-per-view a month. Honest to God, though, they really do need to cut that down. I mean, have some network specials, have some live specials, have a live 205 live special or something like that a month. Have an all-women special like a month. But they got to cut down some of these pay-per-views because it's diluting everything. It's making the pay-per-view seem inconsequential. You don't really care that much about WrestleMania. They were already hyping the greatest Royal Rumble before Mania even happened. Okay, we're probably going to see some rematches from WrestleMania. Why are we even going to tune into WrestleMania? A lot of people did, don't get me wrong. It's WrestleFreaking-Mania. But they're even making that seem irrelevant, even as they add all these lavish production values and have these big matches on there. They do need to cut the pay-per-views down. If they just want to have a few network specials, like an exclusive for the Cruiserweights, the 205 Live roster, an exclusive for the women, like in another month, a tag team tournament special in, say, I don't know, in October or something like that. If they have themed shows like that, it would make more sense. Bring stuff back like King of the Ring, get rid of stuff like Battleground and that kind of stuff. But they do need to think about cutting down the pay-per-views. Because having 2 in a month is ridiculous. Like they had we've had 3 inside a month actually, because WrestleMania was on April 8th. Greatest Royal Rumble was April 27th, and then Backlash was just yesterday, and so that was May 6th. So basically inside a month, essentially, we've had 3 shows. You can't have that many. And make them seem like, oh, they're big Super Bowl events or you got to pay attention. If you produce too many, you make them less special. And let's see, number 7, cut pre-shows in half, except for Mania. You want to do a 2-hour pre-show for Mania, I get it. Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, 1-hour pre-show. All other pre-shows, 30 minutes. That's it. You don't need the kickoff panel thing. In fact, you really don't need the kickoff panel all that much. You really don't. We see all this stuff going on. All these, all this stuff about announcers talking about shit that's going to happen. Kickoff, announcers introduce you to stuff. If you want to have the kickoff panel on there for about 10 minutes, okay. Or I'd have them backstage. I wouldn't even have them out in the arena. Then you have a match. And you give the kickoff match about 12 to 15 minutes. Unless it's like just a complete throwaway. But if you want to really make the kickoff match seem important, like, okay, hey, this is your hook, get the network so you can watch the rest of the show, then okay, you've hooked the audience. But a long pre-show does no good. 1 hour is too much. Like the Backlash pre-show, I barely paid attention to. Except to make fun of the announcers, make fun of people like Rosenberg and Otunga and Booker, which is easy to do. Because they're pretty much all trash when it comes to talking. But yeah, cut the pre-shows. At least in half. If not, cut them all together. I mean, because it's ridiculous. Number 6, no more recaps unless it's a big segment. You don't need to recap every single damn thing when you come back from commercial break. We don't all have a bad attention span. Wait, what was I talking about? We don't all have a bad attention span. We don't all need to repeat ourselves. We do not all need to repeat ourselves. The recaps, if you cut out 20 minutes of the recaps that they did per Raw and SmackDown episode, at least it seems like 20 minutes, and all the replays, unless it's a big match, don't even have a hype package. Don't have the GMs appear after every single thing or before every single thing. Make it for a big championship match and that kind of stuff. Otherwise, let the talents have fun. Have the GM appear on the Titantron, make a quick announcement. No more recaps though, unless it's a big deal and a big hot angle that you want to sell. Other than that, if you missed it, well, you gotta check it out on YouTube later and then try and catch the episode on Hulu or catch it on DVR if you record it. Hook it so people have to watch this stuff. If they see recaps of something that sometimes are as long as the actual goddamn segment because they recap the whole thing, then what's the point? Why are we even tuning into the show if you're going to recap everything? So yeah, cut the recaps. That saves about 15 minutes a show, and you can have another goddamn match. Number 5, 1 cruiserweight match at least per Raw and SmackDown. Hook people into 205 Live. Have the championship defended on Raw and or SmackDown here and there. Because they're going to have to phase out the 205 Live brand and integrate it into Raw and SmackDown. I don't think 205 Live as constituted, even with the rebranding, is going to save it. Because they're running it in the big arena after SmackDown, the crowd's already exhausted. I would record it before SmackDown. Let people in the arena early. And then you have people all hot and everything and ready for the show. And then ready for SmackDown, that kind of stuff. And maybe they won't be so burned out because they'll be all amped up. And then, boom, you lead into that. Because, one, it would actually make the show seem better. It would make 205 Live seem better if the crowd was actually hot. Now, sometimes the crowd gets into it, But after a 2-hour show, it's a little hard to get him back into it and that kind of stuff, even with the quick transition, with the ropes, with the banners and stuff like that and everything. That's how they're going to have to do it. But have a Cruiserweight match on Raw and SmackDown at least. That hooks people into it. So they got to tune into the network if you want to get more network subs. Number 4, pull the plug on Roman as the guy. For the love of Christ, it has been 4 straight WrestleManias plus this, plus him beating Samoa Joe for absolutely no goddamn reason. They're not going to pull the plug on Samoa Joe. But everybody, look at this. That face is exactly the face I make every time they decide to do this stuff with Roman. And I don't even hate Roman. I'm not going to call him anything derogatory like some people have, like slurs and stuff like that. I'm not going to wish injury, I'm not going to wish death on the guy, though overexposure is not helping him. I mean, maybe him rebranded and taking the Shield crap away from him would help. But you got to pull the plug on Reigns as the guy, or at least give other people a chance. I know Rollins got injured and he had that severe knee injury, but he's come back and he's done well. Yes, he had that knee injury leading into WrestleMania 33, but maybe they overplayed it and they just play it safe with him. I'm not saying Samoa Joe could be the guy, but they've undercut him. Styles and Nakamura, that feud means nothing. They seem bound and determined to torpedo so many talents, so, you have to cheer Reigns. Fans are booing louder. Now, there are some people that are cheering Reigns, and the ones that actually have a brain that want to cheer Reigns, you guys are cool with me. Those are the sheep. I couldn't give 2 shits about you guys. Because sheep fans annoy me the most. The Roman Reigns sheep fandom are the worst. They're the worst. They're the worst of a current wrestler. They're worse than any other wrestling fans, because I can at least reason with fans of other products, maybe with the exception of Impact sheep. And even most Impact fans will actually listen to me if I say, well, hey, I'm not wishing that the company die, but yada yada. Reigns fans, you just can't, you're a hater if you don't like Reigns. No, I just don't think he's that good. I don't think he's horrible. I don't think he's that good. They need to pull the plug on the guy as the guy. They won't, but they need to, because they have a ton of other people they could invest in. Okay, so he's moving merch, so he's doing this kind of stuff and everything. But if you keep booking him the way he is, you're just going to undo everything that you've been trying to do with him for the past 4 years. You already have undone that. They've had chance after chance after chance with him and continue to screw it up. Is that all his fault? No. I will say that he is not nearly as good as people say he is. Oh, he's a great wrestler. He's capable of having a great match, but he needs to have the right guy. We'll say his feud with Braun Strowman last year did surprise me. I'm not saying that Reigns is a terrible talent and should never be used in main events, but using him in almost every single main event, bad move. Bad move. Because it just, he main evented Elimination Chamber, okay, whatever, we knew that was going to happen. Main eventing WrestleMania was a bad idea. That should not have been the main event. At all. I get why it was, but it shouldn't have been. And then main eventing Backlash against Samoa Joe in a match that was not very good at all. He's being torpedoed. And he's only, I think 31, 32, so he's got years ahead in the wrestling business. But if they're going to continue to do this with him, shit. Look at what New Japan's doing with Tama Tonga. At least I think it's either Tama-Tonga, I think is how you actually pronounce his name. But he's a great talent. He's everything that Reigns should be. He is greatly skilled. He's good on the mic. Not great on the mic, but he's good on the mic. But he's everything. He's booked the way that Reigns should be. Athletic and also a badass and has a really cool look about him. And the problem with Reigns is they've been booking him like a member of the Shield, like the one member of the Shield since the group broke up, and that's what's really undone him. If they don't take him off TV till at least SummerSlam, they won't. They'll keep him on TV. If they took him off TV till SummerSlam, if like somebody came out and destroyed him, or if you had Brock destroy him at Money in the Bank or something like that, because that's probably what's going to happen, then take him off TV till SummerSlam, if not longer, and rebrand Reigns. I don't even think a rebranding is going to save him, but you got to try something else than what you've been trying, because what you've been trying ain't working. Number 3, no more part-time champs, period. Get the title off of Brock as soon as you can. Give it to somebody other than Reigns, because somebody that deserves it, like Strowman. Maybe Strowman will beat Brock at Money in the Bank, which I would be happy about. Won't happen, but I would be happy to see it. No more part-time champs. I would almost say no more part-timers. They need to move on to full-time guys. Or at least guys that are mostly there. Taker's done. Sorry, he's done. He's been done for years. Brock, they're still going to keep him around, that kind of stuff. Cena, they're still going to keep him around, but a lot of part-time guys, they don't need to keep bringing back guys to remind them that, yes, these guys were popular back then, and you got to cheer these guys, and we're going to put them against our younger guys, and then they beat the younger guys, and then they wonder why they can't make stars, when they can make stars, and they just don't want to. So no more part-time champs, at least. They need to move on from having part-timers come back, period, to wrestle. If they want to have them make appearances, that's fine. But they got to become a full-time thing. Now, yeah, okay, you make the argument. I make the argument about New Japan being good, and they're using Chris Jericho. Well, yeah, but Chris Jericho's coming in, having a good feud, putting people over, and then leaving. If they're going to have part-timers come in, and part-timers are just going to eat up the young guys and leave, then what's the damn point? That's pretty much my thing. You got to market people correctly. If you're not going to try to make newer stars, you're failing. Number 2, start all shows with a match. No more promos. No more of these 10 to 20 minute promos. Start off with a match. Start off hot. Start off with a title match. Start off with Alicia Fox versus Dana Brooke. I don't care. Okay, don't start off with that. Put that, maybe halfway through the show. Nothing against Alicia Fox. I don't know where the hell she's been. I know she got in that argument with Ronda's husband. Where the hell has she been? She's still nursing her injury? Let me know in the comments. Start off with matches. I mean, don't put Dana Brooke in an opening match. You don't need that. Dana really can't do anything in the ring. But start off with a match. If you want to start off with a hot tag title match, start off with that. Start off with the cruiserweight match. Do something. Do something to hook the audience. This promo stuff isn't doing any good. It doesn't hook the TV audience. It doesn't hook the live audience. Stop with the opening promos. Stop with the opening, 20-minute shit. Do a match. Kick off the show hot. And number 1, fire Kevin Dunn. Fire that stupid Bucky Beavertooth motherfucker. Kick him out of the damn office. Take away his keys. Make sure he can never come back. Make sure he cannot even sniff within 50 miles of Titan Towers. Get him away from the damn company. He's ruining it with his TV work. He's ruining it with any influence he has over Vince. Seriously, Vince McMahon is an idiot. And I don't care if Kevin Dunn's dad saved some goddamn taste. Get rid of Kevin Dunn. Get rid of the guy. Get rid of the stupid dumb fuck. I tell him that to his goddamn face. And I'm happy, and I'm going to show the face again. I was happy when Cornette apparently told Dunn how he felt about him. And he should. And I'm not for bullying, but Kevin Dunn, the detestable, stupid beaver-tooth fucker that he is, deserves to be bullied because he's a piece of shit and he's not any good and he's trashed the damn product. He can't do anything good with his camera work. The dumb fuck shot a crowd leaving, parts of the crowd leaving right after Reigns and Joe had ended. And I'm talking like right when the bell had rang. Let's cut to the crowd. Oh shit, there are people leaving. Great job, Dunn, you stupid asshole. I would scream at this fucker until he went and threw himself onto a bus and never came back. All fans should be allowed to scream at him and shame him into quitting. I'm not saying that the guy should end his life. I'm not saying that. But he deserves to be freaking just slaughtered verbally for the abortion that he has created with his camera work and the fact that he can't do his goddamn job because he's a pile of shit that never deserved to be in the wrestling business. And I would tell Vince that to his face. I would get killed right afterwards because Vince would probably eat my soul, but it would be worth it because Kevin Dunn is pathetic. Anyway, those are 12 ways I would fix WWE. What are some ways? You let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe also. Spend real honesty with Jar Mifflin. I'm Jar Mifflin. I will see you soon.